Podawful.tv is a short link. Podawful.tv. We'll be live here in 3 with the video that Kyle Cease does not want you to see. Happy to be here, of course. Thank you for tuning in live for this one. This is big. Share that link for me, podawful.tv. About to go live. Very serious topic tonight. About a very unfunny man. Vibe with me. Hello, Aquatism. Hello, Patrick. Wave. Hello, Wang. Wave. Storm Rebel. Tikka Masala. Wave. Scotty O'Hare. All right, let's do this. Let's start. A couple years ago, I introduced you guys to a fellow by the name of Kyle Cease, a.k.a. Kid Comedy. Now, Kid Comedy, he's a guy, he used to be a big-time stand-up comedian. He was well on his way to being a very big stand-up comedian, and everything went crashing down for him. The reason we were covering him on this show is he started this thing, a comedy boot camp. It was a comedy class, and I don't know about you guys. I don't know if you're aware of this. Stand-up comedians, they really look down on these comedy class things. They're kind of a scam. So Kyle Cease was already a scammer, and then when he got called out by the comedy community, which doesn't allow for that kind of thing, he decided, well, it's time to go take this another direction. So he took it into a brand new direction and a brand new scam, and we've seen this a few times now here at Pod Awful. He started being a motivational speaker or a life coach. I don't really know what to call it. He does this thing called Evolving Out Loud. We covered it on the show. You can go watch it. Go through our YouTube channel. Go find all the stuff we did on Kyle Cease before. But anyway, that was like 2 years ago, okay? Now, I want to preface this episode by saying this. Today is International Women's Day. And you know, here at Pod Awful, we believe all women. We believe them. We gotta believe them. And I've known in my heart, like deep down, my intuition, and I think I have a pretty good intuition. I think you guys can admit I'm pretty good at guessing these things. I'm a pretty good study of people, a judge of character. I was telling people, we started this hashtag a long time ago called hashtag Cease Scams. So I was warning people earlier that Kyle Cease is a big-time scam artist. I knew there was more to it. You know, I look at these, he calls what he does transformational comedy. It's barely comedy at this point, which is really my bone to pick with this. But on International Women's Day, I'm not going to let him get away with this one. Again, what I'm about to present to you is, it's honestly difficult for me to do. You know what? I'm going to let Kyle actually speak for himself. What I've got here, I'm going to start with a video that's actually from 2 years ago. Kyle himself, in his own words, on the Me Too movement. Then we're going to go from that into a video Kyle does not want you to see. That's from just a couple weeks ago. Okay? I have a video that Kyle Cease does not want you to see, and it's Me Too related. Take a look at this from 2 years ago.
Like literally the place we go to run from our problems is the place that's bringing our problems up. Facebook and Instagram and Twitter are people saying me too. So the place you go to run, your addiction, is now the place that's bringing it up. And this truth movement happened. And people all over stood up and said, me too, I went through this, no more. Now, when this comes up and you finally can't manipulate your way out of it and you can't addictify your way out of it.
Manipulate, huh?
Next steps forward happen, and many of those next steps aren't pleasant.
Right.
So one step is denial. One step is just constant denial, repression, addiction, right? Like this.
Yeah, I think you know something about denial, Kyle. In fact, I'm going to call you Denial Kyle. I think you've been in denial for the past 2 years because here's a more recent video. And again, this is a video Kyle does not want you to see.
You don't know, a week ago, some accusations came out against me. And these accusations were big, and these accusations were a lot, and these accusations were challenging for all of us, for the person making the accusations, for the people around that person, for the public, and for me. And I know that there's kind of an assumption or an expectation of how I should respond. A lot of people said to me, why haven't you responded to these allegations right away? And the truth is, I didn't know what to say.
Look, you can't just start a slow clap at any old time. You gotta wait for the right moment.
But how am I going to know when it's the right moment?
Oh. You'll know.
Yeah, I don't think Kyle Cease does know when the right moment is. A woman came out just a few weeks ago. I've spoken to her. We have her message here. I will be delivering her message for her in the hopes to let people know the true man behind these scams. I tried to say it 2 years ago. There's something sinister that lies beneath when it comes to Kyle Cease. I'll read you the message. I'll play for you the video that he does not want you to see. We're going to do a deep dive into this, and I'm hoping if there are any other victims out there, they will come out and they will have something to say about this as well. This one woman, her name is Allison. She's very brave for doing what she did. I want to thank her for helping me out with this investigation here tonight, and I'm hoping the others can come forward as well on this International Women's Day. Kyle Cease just got Me Too'd. Let's go bully the internet. This is Pod Awful.
Pod Awful TV. Oh, y'all is doing it right. Pod Awful sucks, you faggot. Good boy. You scam artist, douchebag. You're the worst, motherfucker. Give up. You fucking little piece of shit. You're crazy. You're sick of your head. Fucking dweeb, faggot, jackass. Pod Awful sucks. You know what? You're not funny. I want to really kick your ass.
My mom doesn't like it when I mention Pod Awful anymore.
And yeah, that was Kyle Cease in Not Another Teen Movie there. He's the slow clap guy. We all remember that. This is a guy, we all know the guy that did the slow clap from that movie. Huge thing. He was also in 10 Things I Hate About You. So if you're thinking like, oh, this is no, who are we talking about, Jesse? I told you before, he was a big guy. He was on his way to be a big-time stand-up comedian, and everything went crashing down for him the second he started deciding that he needed to scam people out of a little money. And now it's all crashing down around him again. In fact, right now, live, while this is happening, while this show is going on, Kyle is going through one of his transformational getaways. He does these retreats for people out there. They're a real retreat. And he's at one of those right now, and this whole thing is crashing down around him. The whole community of these folks, of these transformational people, these guru types, these, I don't know what you call it. I really don't know what you call it. We've tried to come up with a word for this, life coach, motivational speaker, whatever it is. All these guys in this community, by the way, we've talked about this before, they're all life coaches somehow. Like they all coach each other. It's this weird circular thing. I don't know how it works, but anyway, he's on this retreat. I have word on the street. There are people at the retreat right now. They've messaged me and said it's all coming crashing down around him right now, which is amazing. Very cool. Cease scams. So we're going to get into what the woman had to say about all of this. Her name is Allison. Allison Schlicht is the one who came forward with these allegations. And I see already in the chat room, we have some people think, oh, is it rape? Oh, he raped somebody. It's not rape. No, it wasn't rape, okay? I want to say this before I even bother reading her allegations here. And I believe her, by the way. I 100% believe her. She's not the only one to come forward and say this. This is a big viral Facebook post that she made, and other people have come forward after her and said, this happened to me too. Me too. Hashtag me too. They've come forward in her post here. They've come to her. They've come to me. We've heard these people say, he did this to me as well. I want to say this right now. There's some people in this audience where your whole thing is, Jesse, if he didn't really rape her or if it was consensual, is that really a me too? It ain't about that. Okay? I've seen the comments already in the chat room. It ain't about that. What's tonight about? It's about the downfall of Kyle Cease. Okay? I mean, what he did is 100%, like in my opinion, it's 100% against the rules. And even if you think, I don't believe in the Me Too rules, I think, sure, rape is bad, but, these dicey sort of situational things that happen with a guy and a girl, doesn't matter what you think on it. Because the Me Too movement, it includes that stuff you don't like. So, one way or the other, Kyle Cease has been Me Too'd. Okay, I'm going to read you the statement here. Let's check in the chat room first, see what they're saying in there. We're live as we are every Sunday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, podawful.tv. We've got the live chat going on right now. They're saying, Cease. Kyle Cease gets a piece. He offered to void payment for classes to get some poon. No, not quite that. Not quite that. Hi, I hope everyone is doing great tonight. By the way, there's somebody who just keeps spamming over and over again in the chat that they are a rapper or something. Can we just get rid of them, time them out? you gotta figure out to stop doing that. I've seen that like 5 times in the chat room. Please don't distract with things like our one rule in the chat. I don't get rid of you for anything, even just saying bad things about me. Just don't be distracting. Okay? Thank you very much. If you've already learned your lesson, we don't need to time you out. But whoever that was, apparently Mr. Cease hates polecats. Now, I don't know what that means. He's the poon goon. Maybe so. He is a goon. I mean, Kyle Cease is a goon one way or the other. Let me read for you the statement here. I'll show it to you on screen just so you get an idea of what we're talking about here. It's a very, very long statement, okay? I mean, there's a lot to read here. I'm not going to read it all. I'm going to read you the most important parts. We're going to skim it the best we can because, honestly, it's a lot. It's a lot. And it's a lot to go through. And I believe Allison may be watching right now. We don't need to make her relive all of this. So let me tell you what it says. She says, breaking my silence. For some time now, I've been using the power of the written word to express and release my innermost thoughts, feelings, and struggles. I've shared the poetry and stories I've written to help me heal deep traumas and pain associated to them. Trigger warning, by the way, for those of you out there who may have experienced a similar thing. If you've ever been Me Too'd yourself, then watch out. I'm going to skip ahead here a little bit. She says, here is my story. In July of 2018, I found Kyle Cease's work on Facebook, which led me to purchasing a $20 online product of his. So I don't know what this $20 online product was, but, you know, he does these things where you pay a certain amount of money and you get to talk to him every single week, where he does like this conference call with people and he gives them the motivation and stuff. You know, he goes up and he does these big arenas, basically, these big rooms filled with people where he does the motivational speaking from a stage and stuff, but he also gets real personal with you. And he'll do the conference call. You just pay a weekly little thing, and every week you get to talk to Kyle Cease, and he tells you what he's been dreaming up inside his receding hairline, you know? And I could have sworn that was a great idea the first time I heard it, back when it was called The Pizza Fund and Friday Night Hangout Explosion. But anyway, she says she purchased this $20 online product. This led to a friend request. He requested her on Facebook, which led to a personal connection. Now, let me tell you something. A guy has a business on Facebook, and a lady signs up for it, and the guy then just randomly sends a Facebook friend request. That's already a Me Too right there! That's essentially a Me Too immediately. Just you have now been Me Too'd right there. And I'm not kidding when I say that. That's a move, okay? That's what we call in the business a move. Not that I'm in the business. I'm not in the business of Me Too'ing. But anyway, that's a move. That's saying like, hey, I'm interested. Oh, hey, I noticed that you've joined my thing here. Friend request. That's called sliding into the DMs. Since that initial purchase, I've invested countless hours into coaching. In addition to the investment of money, over $20,000. Man, I have paid directly to Evolving Out Loud. And again, that's Kyle's whole motivational thing that he does. Evolving Out Loud. He's selling out places doing this thing. As well as the travel expenses associated to his personal events. His in-person events. I hired this man. So again, she went into this as a client. This was supposed to be a business exchange and nothing more. I hired this man to help me evolve and grow into a higher, more aligned version of myself. And that was delivered by me, she says. Now, again, her name is Allison. And Allison, I believe, is also one of these sort of, I don't know, Allison, I probably should ask you, what do we call this sort of thing you guys do here? But, you know, this whole world, it's all just people giving each other advice to then just give other people advice, and that's everyone's business. I took the experience of being manipulated and taken advantage of by Kyle and his team, who is obviously protecting him and allowing this behavior to take place, and made the choice to learn from it and to continue to heal. So Kyle's got a whole team of people around him, or he did. We'll talk about that in a bit. But Kyle had this whole team of people around him, and they're like, oh, no, nothing untoward going on here. They must have been seeing it, you know? It must have been an environment of silence when it comes to this because, again, Allison was not his first. My guess is she was not his last when it comes to the Me Tooings. Part of the healing is me telling my story now. Under the guise of a spiritual teacher, coach, and healer, Kyle used his position of power and special trust to facilitate a sexual and romantic relationship with me and possibly other women as well. Not possibly, by the way. 100% confirmed. They've said it. So he's definitely done this to others. This is his whole business model is Me Tooing. Now, I said this before, and I kind of think this of all of these guys. I mean, the guys at least, probably not the ladies. But I think all the guys, you know, you've heard this about Tony Robbins, right? Tony Robbins is one of these guys, one of these stand in front of you and tell you how to feel better guys. And he got Me Too'd. I kind of think they're all, it's all manipulation. It's all sort of a used car salesman-like tactic to make you feel comfortable around them. And now if you can do that for your business, you can do that to pick up the ladies. And if you're going from town to town, if you're fly by night, a rolling stone gathering no moss, like Kyle sees, well, why wouldn't you do it to a few of the ladies? Now, you would think that maybe having a wife and kid would stop you, but not Kyle. We'll get into that. Okay, did you even have any idea that he had a wife and a kid? Maybe not a wife, like a fiance. It's murky. It's murky what she is, but they were living together and they have a child together, okay? He's got a baby mama. He's got that much. He's got a woman, you know, he might not have a wife, but he's got a lady who'd be mad if she heard him say, hey, by the way, I don't have a wife. So he comes on to her. He started this, and he broke that bond of professionalism, okay? He crossed that line. And like it or not, again, part of the Me Too thing is positions of power, hierarchies of power. He was in a position of power above her. She was paying him, and then he's like, but how about also, you know, my penis? My penis. Kid comedy. A guy who this is a guy, by the way, who goes on stage and says things. I mean, you heard how soft he talks in that first thing when I was playing the old Me Too video. Listen to this again.
But then a next forward step, which might feel more painful, is anger. But it's a step forward because this thing that we've been pushing down is now right here. And finally, it's like...
And that's not the last time he'll be saying that to somebody, trust me. But Kyle, he talks real softly. One of the last times we heard him, he used a phrase, scary Bo Berry. I mean, he talks like a little kid, okay? When you see this video I'm going to play for you, the video he does not want you to see, you're going to see, like, there's a lot of these disgusting little, oh, I'm just a little boy. I'm effeminate, and I'm non-confrontational, and I'm nothing to worry about. And that's the guy you should worry about, okay? Ladies, if you don't mind, this might be a little bit of mansplaining. I'm sorry, Women's Day and everything. But I'm actually letting you in on a secret here. The guy you should be the most scared of is the guy who seems non-threatening. Okay? Trust me on that. You don't want that guy. So it's all manipulation with these guys. Now, she says that she opens up to him about her past history of sexual abuse, and he kind of takes advantage of that. Last March, when I went to see him perform in Orlando, he used the same coaching tactics he uses on stage to coach me into breaking a streak of almost 6 months of sobriety. He convinced me it was no big deal to have drinks with him after the show. So this is the first time, like, nothing has happened between them until this point. And he knows she's well, I guess you're never a former alcoholic, right? Once an alcoholic, you're always in it. She had been going 6 months with complete sobriety, and Kyle is like, yeah, but trying to get my dick wet. And that is, by the way, like, that is such a stand-up comedy guy. You think he acts like he's completely changed. Oh, he's not really a stand-up guy anymore. He's now the transformational guy. No. Nope, it's still in him. It's in his DNA. You know, let's get a lady from the show, a few drinks in her, and see where we can take this. These all stand-up comedians, slimy in that way. I think stand-up comedians and motivational speakers both, I have the exact same level of disdain and of untrust for them, okay? They're all bad. So she is trying not to drink. He's pressuring her and pressuring her and pressuring her into it, and for the sole purpose to have a sexual relationship with me, which started that evening. Although I did not have intercourse with him at that time, we did spend several hours intimately together in his hotel room. This was during the time I was a client on his daily coaching call. So this is not weekly, this is daily, for crying out loud, and had also attended one of his flow groups. So this is one of these things these guys do. At his most recent meditation retreat in November, so remember I told you he's on this meditation retreat right now. It's going bad for him. He did one back in November. She was there, and at that time, she recovered a deeply repressed sexual abuse memory, and she opens up to him about this trauma. She goes to Kyle, the man who obviously in this situation is the guy she thinks she should be able to trust. It's his whole thing, right? That's his job here, is to be the guy you can open up about that sort of stuff to. And what does he do? He parlays that into having sex with her. Okay? She says, after being invited to dinner alone with Kyle that evening, I shared the newly discovered details of my sexual abuse history with him on our way to the restaurant together. She says this was Friday, the silent night, for those who attend his retreats. Now, I'm not exactly sure what that means. I think from context, the silent night, I think they literally have a night where they all are supposed to be quiet, but Kyle's invited her to dinner, so special privileges, I guess. She gets to talk to him. Oh, isn't that interesting? I wonder if Kyle has any ulterior motives here. Let me see what you guys are saying in the chat room right now. What a sicko, someone says. A master manipulator. How does an F- actor have the balls to be a motivational speaker? I mean, if you were in such giant hits as 10 Things I Hate About You, don't you feel like you'd have the balls? You know, last year was the 20-year anniversary of 10 Things I Hate About You. And when they did this thing all over the internet where they did a glow up, they showed you the actors from then and what they look like today. And when they got to Heath Ledger, it was just a fucking corpse. But they did Kyle Cease. They included Kyle Cease in that. You know, Kyle Cease just played this nerd whose house they crashed for a party in the movie. But they include him in there. He's like, oh, yeah, you guys remember Bucky Lowenstein or whatever his character's name is. Birdie something. Bogey Lowenstein was his character's name. You guys all remember Bogey? And people are like, yes, we remember. So imagine the ego this guy has. Okay? A true deviant, they say. Now, I want to say this, by the way. I know there are some nervous Nellies about this. I'm trying to do my journalistic best. You know, I like to have journalistic integrity when it comes to these things. And I did ask Allison for corroborating information on this. At the end of this post, she says she's got screenshots, texts, emails, audio recordings of Kyle, you know, that prove that this sort of intimate relationship was going on. I asked for an example, just any example, one example of any of that. And I understand why she originally was open to the idea. I understand why she sent me a message and said, you know what, I'm going through all this stuff now, trying to find something to send you. It's opening up old wounds. So I want you to know I did my best for that. You've got to believe women here or not. I'm hoping maybe with a little bit more courage, maybe Allison can come forward with a little bit of that, because there are people out there defending Kyle right now. There are people who, you know, he's been manipulating people now for a decade on this stuff. He's been doing this essentially for a decade. And so there are people who cannot picture him doing something like this. So I think it is very important to not just this story and this expose here tonight. I think this is important for the overall well-being of the people in these communities to see something that shows exactly what we're talking about here. I'm hoping we can get that at some point. Maybe not tonight. Might be a future date. Right after this happened last week, Kyle was supposed to give a TED Talk. He did a TEDx talk. And I noticed that still has not come out yet. I was originally saving this episode to do when that came out so I could show you that. We see what he's talking about in there. Really show you the dichotomy of this man. This is a sick and twisted individual, a guy who can say the stuff he normally says on stage and then be like this behind the scenes. And that's part of the Me Tooing too, by the way. If you still don't get it, fellas, that's part of it. Is he's all about truthfulness. He's all about transparency. He's all about being there and being your true self and showing it. And he ain't none of that. He's a liar. Okay, that's part of the Me Too. So I was waiting for the TEDx talk. It hasn't come out. I don't know if that's because of the scandal here or if they just haven't released it yet. What I'm thinking is on a future date, we might go over that TEDx talk when it comes out. We might do that on another episode coming up soon. And maybe when that happens, maybe we'll have a little bit more corroborating evidence here. Again, I don't need it to believe. I'm just saying for those out there who have trouble believing, it might be nice. So she says, any decent man, let alone someone in his position, would never make sexual advances at a woman who had this type of breakthrough recently, let alone the same day. I mean, imagine that. Like, you have to be some kind. That is like an 80s movie slime ball. You know, the guy on the ski slope is the only guy where a woman could come up to him and go, I just had this huge breakthrough. I don't even know how to say this, but when I was younger, I just remembered this. I had a sexual assault in my past. And the guy's like, damn, yo, shit, that sucks. You want to go to my room? That is, ooh, uh-oh. Ooh. I mean, that's worse than Weisenstein. What's his name? So that night, after several drinks, he forced her to have, and hours of verbal coercing, hours of it, her defenses finally broke down, and she slept with him. Afterward, he was alarmingly anxious, and she left his Airbnb so that he could rest for the event, which was to start in a few hours. So she was out of there in the morning, slipping out of there. I don't know if there were whispers or what. People must have seen something. Around 6 a.m., she returns to her room, showers, gets ready to be at the event by 9. So only 3 hours to go until the big event. He's got to be up and speaking in front of people. She says, as most of you know, Kyle did not show up that day until 3 p.m. So, number one, Allison, wow. I mean, I hate to say it, but you really did a number on the guy. Apparently, that shit's the bomb, I mean, a guy can't even get up between 9 and 3 p.m., 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. You wore him out. No, obviously that's not what happened. He was drunk, and he would not show up until then. He claimed he had a massive fall apart. So he's claiming this breakdown happened, this sort of mental, spiritual, physical breakdown happened. He's not telling people what really happened. Oh, I was drinking and sexually coercing a woman in my Airbnb. While I don't doubt this to be true, he failed to mention a very important part of the story. He failed to include the detail that we were drinking and having sex. One of the paying attendees of the event, which most likely was a key factor to his sympathy seeking a follow-up. I see what she's saying. She's saying she's one of the paying people at this event, and now, some people would construe it because of her. Obviously, that's not the case, but some people would construe it because of her, a paying attendee of the event. Now he's not showing up to the event. His staff is having to come in and go, oh, everything's fine. Look away, look away, look away. After the November retreat, our relationship continued and became more intimate emotionally. For weeks, on a daily basis, he professed his love for me in various ways, even mentioning a possible move to Florida. I guess she's based in Florida, taking care of me financially and having me be part of the EOL team, Evolving Out Loud. I wonder how many people in the Evolving Out Loud team, by the way, that's what happened. Are any of the other ladies part of the team? Do they have this exact same story? I don't know. This all was taking place while I am showing up Monday through Friday on our 2+ hour calls with 50 other people who have also made many sacrifices to work with this man. And this guy charges a fucking arm and a leg for this stuff. Like these retreats, these events, all these things cost a ton of money. Okay? A ton of money. It's crazy. The video I'm going to show you tonight that he does not want you to see is from one of these, what is typically a conference call, but he has to address these events, these allegations. So he turns it off. He doesn't want any feedback. So there's no chat during it. There's no other people on with him. He just uses that pulpit, that platform, to give his side of the story. And it's insane. It's completely insane. She says, in December, the nature of our relationship started to shift. And by January, she finally started to catch on to his patterns. She tried many times over the course of the 11 months to create boundaries, to leave the community, and to stand up for herself. However, every single time, Kyle found a way to convince me to stick around and to convince me that what I was feeling was wrong. He would play the victim role, so that's what I'm saying. Oh, I'm just a defenseless little baby. I'm Kyle Cease. I'm a baby. I couldn't hurt a fly. By the way, drink up. Drink, bitch. I want to fuck. That's what he's doing behind the scenes. He used her weaknesses against her to sexually and emotionally use her. And she even uses the hashtag #MeToo here. Hashtag #MeToo. He manipulated me into believing the women who came forward in the Bikram yoga scandal and all of the hashtag #MeToo cases were wrong. So I just played a video for you from 2 years ago, I think. Maybe 3. 2.5, 3 years ago. Where he's talking about how powerful the Me Too movement is and how amazing it is. Meanwhile, behind the scenes here, he's telling a girl that he's manipulating. The Me Too stuff, that wasn't real. You know all of those weren't real. And have you guys heard about this Bikram yoga thing? Very similar thing. This Bikram, the guy who invented Bikram yoga, they made a whole documentary about this. Look it up. All these scandals going on with him. These gurus, guru guys. You be on the lookout. Be on the lookout. So they're saying in the chat, sicko man-child. South Park taught us to never trust a Kyle. I knew he was a scumbag. Fuck this wacko freak. This is truly shocking, they say in the chat room. Kyle means to forcefully push in Hebrew. Is that true? Holy shit. Blue Poppy says, I love you. Well, thank you so much. You better not be emotionally manipulating me by saying that. Don't send me a friend request. Bikram was clapping left and right. Yeah, Bikram. So if you don't know this, Bikram yoga was named after a dude named fucking Bikram, and he was alive during our lifetime. Is he still alive? I don't know. But yoga is not an old practice. Like, they act like it's this ancient thing. It ain't. They invented it in the 70s, basically. And this Bikram guy is like, yeah, but what if people were sweating while they did it? And he used that to clap cheeks, to bust nuts. He was creaming, okay? He would have a lady get as hot as possible, all sweaty, break her down, all of her muscles too tired to fight back, her brain now in a relaxed state, stretching, doing downward facing dog. He'd go up to her afterwards, and he'd go, how about you let me bust? And she's like, I don't know. And he just starts putting his hand down her leotard. And she's like, well, it would be racist of me if I said, no, your name is Bikram after all. So she lets him do it. She's not liking it. She says no. And then right at the end of it, he stops. He goes completely rigid. And he goes, I creamed. Did you know that? That's how Bikram from Bikram Yoga would nut. When he nuts, he goes, I creamed. And then he's just done, and he just walks away. He grabs a a cum towel, a cum rag, and he just starts wiping his dick, and you just see him walk away, his little cheeks moving. Like a golf instructed to the postman, the milkman gotta watch them all. What? What the fuck did I just read? That was the most insane sentence I've ever read. I have no idea what they just said in the chat. Anyway, she says, and I believe that some, not all, of the members of his team are in the same disempowered position I was also in. I believe they are aware that this has been happening and have been protecting him, so on and so forth there. I don't mean to just skip over. I mean, all of this is very important. I encourage you to go look this post up. Her name is Allison Marie Schlicht. This is public, as it should be, to let people know what's going on here. I do want to get to the end of this here because there's some important stuff toward the end. I think I've painted a pretty good picture of what's going on here, though, so far. This is the interesting part here. For me, she says how painful this all was for her. And throughout all of this was something that she was trying to get help with, She was looking for help from this man, and she was paying him. This was supposed to be a business transaction. So she went looking for a refund. She figures, well, if I got used by this guy, if he's going to use me to cream, then I might as well not be paying for it. I mean, come on, It's like when the teacher has sex with a student and she's like, well, it's always a lady. I say she. That's the time where you got to watch out for the ladies. She goes, I'll give you an A. You send me nudes, send me a dick pic during class, I'll give you an A on the exam. You shouldn't have to be trying in that class anymore. You shouldn't have to do homework if you're banging. So I don't think she should have to pay either. So she goes looking for the refund. And she says, I would like a refund for all monies paid to Kyle and EOL. The services I was promised were not delivered, and there is a breach of contract in addition to professional ethics. This has been a most painful and detrimental way to learn boundaries and self-respect. Kyle's level of manipulation shown verbally and via text and other formats is deeply disturbing. It is not fair for me or for anyone to engage in one of the most sacred experiences of examining and releasing childhood abuse and trauma with someone only for those very wounds to be used for the healer's own personal desires to be fulfilled. Whether it is only me or hundreds of women this has happened to on varying levels, it is not right and it needs to stop. You cannot be a teacher who encourages his students to transcend patterns when you yourself are engaging in patterns that are directly harmful to your students. Please confirm that a full refund in the amount of $16,585 will be processed and mailed to me. So this is what she sent to the EOL team for Kyle. She asked Kyle and got no response from Kyle. Kyle just went, nah, not paying attention. No thanks. $16,585. And that's only like a year's worth of time spent on this. She only did this for a year. $16,000. I mean, God damn, we gotta help. We gotta help these people. You gotta stop with this stuff. It's a scam, man. It's a scam. And I know it seems like a good thing because you've probably gotten some good stuff out of these communities. I hate to even say this. Because I was trying to be sensitive about this part because this isn't what really tonight's show is about. But it kind of is here. Because not only did she get scammed emotionally, she got scammed financially in this matter. And actually, they ended up refunding her. She got a message back from their lawyer. And whenever the lawyer is the one that responds, they ain't happy. They ain't happy. You get the lawyer response rather than just some pleb that works there. Ooh, you struck a nerve for sure. I've been there. I had the same thing happen to me. You get that lawyer responding to you. That's not good for anybody involved, really. And the lawyer's like, you know what? Kyle's going to do you a personal favor, and because he's really sad about the situation. That's a real quote. And so he's going to refund you all the money. So in my mind, I don't know how she feels because she did ask for the refund. In my mind, that's hush money. That's hush money, okay? That's a move. That's a Weisenstein move. Yeah, sure. 16,000 to make this problem go away. 16.5. I'll make this problem go away. Sure. Shh. Don't say anything, though. Now, I'm not saying he's told her to do that. I think he was just hoping with the refund that's what would happen. You know what I mean? So you get that lawyer, things are not good. Now, she does say here that she's healing. She's working through this. It's been emotional trauma. She knows what happened. She has countless texts, emails, audio messages, and screenshots to support her on this. She's no longer the weak woman that allowed herself to be manipulated. Well, I got to say, and I know you kind of do this stuff too, though, it's a pyramid scheme. It just is. Everybody who goes to these things is also doing this motivational stuff or this healer stuff, and I know it might have helped you. You got to get out of that mindset. This is a thing that tricks women. Women, International Women's Day, I got to let the ladies know, this is a scam that you're getting tricked by, okay? There's no good guy doing it. There's very few good women doing it too, all right? You got to ask yourself, if everybody who is going to these events, or almost, if even 60% of the audience at these events are also doing what this guy does, then how real is it? Like, what's the point? How are y'all... And then where does it end? You know, I said this on one of the old episodes with the that we talked about Kyle on. I said, I guess the idea is you heal enough people, and then you reach more people, and they heal enough people, and they reach more people, and eventually none of us have any jobs. It's the perfect system. So I don't know. Like, nobody will have a job anymore because we're all healed, and all of our jobs were to heal each other. So then what? Then what do we do? I mean, I guess that sounds like a utopia. But how does that work? It doesn't. So anyway, this thing, she's got 869 comments on this, 47 shares, 270 some likes and reactions and things to it. Tons and tons of comments. I've gone through all these comments. These comments are crazy. A lot of crazy stuff going on in there. But Jesse, if it's a woman doing it, you have to trust her. #trust women. Listen, I believe all women. I don't trust all women. You know, women can take advantage of you. Like I said about the teachers, they can take advantage of you, and in fact, almost certainly will. It is 100% of these new age, think it into existence self-help guys who do this. They are all scammed by it themselves, but are aware enough to use it on vulnerable girls. Great comment. That's exactly what I'm trying to express here. I think that was put succinctly enough. That's what I'm thinking on this. When your healing power is strong enough, they start taking you on raids. Okay, I didn't know that. So we're going to go into the video that Kyle does not want you to see. But before we do that, we're going to take a quick little break. We'll be right back after this.
And all I just said is I thank Dad for making me strong.
Join our cult on Facebook. podawful.com/cult.
Yeah, God.
We're live
Sunday,
Wednesday, and Friday,
8 p.m. Eastern,
8 p.m. Eastern
at podawful.tv.
at podawful.tv.
podawful.pizza.
You know, and speaking of cult-like mentalities, you can join our cult on Facebook, podawful.com/cult. We are live, as I said earlier, every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time at podawful.tv. Our Wednesday show and our Friday show, though, you can only get those in the Pizza Fund. We don't run ads on this show. We don't have sponsors or anything. So we sell a product, and that product is more shows. If you like the show we do here, you want to see more of it, every Wednesday, every Friday, we've got more shows. You can check those out in the Pizza Fund, podawful.pizza. So I do want to play this video for you, but there are a lot of interesting things coming off of the post by Allison. And one of the interesting things, one of the greatest parts of it really, is Kyle's brother came to his brother's defense. Kyle's brother, Kevin Cease. Let's take a look at this. Now, Kevin deleted all of his comments when it comes to this at this point. He realized how bad he was making his own brother look. And again, everything I'm saying here, I don't need to say allegedly on, because Kyle has essentially come out and admitted. He's admitted that this is all true. He might have his own take on the events, but he basically said, I got Me Too'd, and it was this girl, and this is what happened. And so this ain't allegedly, but yet his brother comes rushing to his defense. Take a look at this. Here you can see it. Kevin Cease is Kyle's brother. And Kevin Cease is also one of these motivationally type guys, or whatever you want to call this. It's not his main thing. We're going to get into that, though. Check this out. Kevin Cease, well, after allowing everyone to run their emotional patterns, become sucked into a polarizing viewpoint without hearing both sides, I'd just like to chime in briefly. I have worked with my brother in the past for many years and know that he is far from perfect. Uh-oh! You don't want to hear that. Ooh, uh-oh. Yeah, okay, so go ahead, start working up the excuses then, I guess, Kevin. It is clear Kyle made a mistake when he chose to get involved with Allison. So this is literally victim blaming. I mean, this is almost cartoon villain victim blaming at this point. Yeah, he made a mistake when he chose her. It is also clear that Allison is choosing to turn this into a smear campaign by taking this to Facebook in an attempt to damage his career while also being driven by time in the spotlight. Allison is claiming in her video, it is time to trigger everyone so they can begin to heal. Allison is taking the healing of others into her own hands by claiming we need to heal for the greater shift in consciousness. Allison is not a therapist, neither is your brother. Your brother says all of this shit, man. And then he's also doing the Me Too on top of it. You can't use that. She's not a therapist. What does she know? Your brother's a fucking stand-up comedian who got kicked out of stand-up because other stand-ups hated him. You don't get to do this. She's not a therapist. Well, your brother's a therapist, except put a space between the and rapist. No, okay, I'm just kidding. He's not a rapist. He's not a rapist, as far as I know. Well, he might be. I mean, he might be. If he's willing to do all this other stuff. And honestly, coercing an alcoholic into drinking to have sex with him, it might not be rape. It's rape vibes. You guys vibing on that? Rape vibes. Now, I've been called a raping before, okay? But that was based on nothing. That was based on a joke on stage, on nothing. This is, I mean, we've got facts here. We've got information that Kyle has admitted to. Allison is not a therapist, nor does she know what she is doing when she takes these actions. Nor does she take responsibility for the fallout and the pain it is causing so many people. Oh, my God. Think of the pain that it's causing to the guy who did this to her. Now, he went on and on and on with this, by the way. It did not stop there. The crazy part is, I could show you tons of screenshots of this. Luckily, this guy named Jay, this hero named Jay, not only did he save all the screenshots of Kevin Cease being a victim blamer, but he's also the guy that recorded the video Kyle does not want you to see. That video is behind a paywall. I'm not sure if it's even up anymore. You have to go searching for it at this point. This guy, Jay, he came in and he was like, I got the receipts for everybody, okay? You want to see it? I got it. So that's where, thanks to Jay, we're going to play that tonight. But this Kevin Cease guy, I mean, he's now, he does medical artwork. So apparently that's like his main gig. But I've seen he used to do the Kyle type stuff, the guru type stuff. Here's Kevin Cease's Facebook profile. I've been following him for a while because when we first started talking about Kyle, I realized everybody Kyle is involved with is also doing this type of stuff. It's bizarre. I identify with my biological gender, he says. Okay, weird. Now, you look through his profile here, you might not see anything right away, but if you dig back deep enough, and he said right there in that message that he's worked with Kyle on these things before, but if you dig back deep enough, you'll find he used to do this stuff too, but you don't even have to dig that far back because let's go to his wife, and I'm not blaming her for anything here, but his wife, Ruthie Cease, and she's one of these people. How to create authentic content that sells with ease while elevating your impact and embodying your wealthiest self. Okay? She's spiritual money plus wealth embodiment coach. Wealthy Soul Radio podcast. Oh, I'd love to hear that podcast, by the way. So his wife does this shit. Okay? And I found them, by the way, through one of our other goons that we found through Kyle, a guy by the name of Brandon Marshall. They all are friends with each other. They all know each other. It's insane. It's so incestuous. This group, I don't understand how it's meant to function. I really don't. And, so Kyle does this stuff. Kyle's brother does this stuff. Kyle's sister-in-law does this stuff. And Kyle's fiance does this stuff in her own little way. You see, through all of this, Kyle is not single. He was cheating, sort of, maybe. Take a look at this. This is a video that wasn't posted that long ago on Kyle's channel. His fiance and his baby. Look at this. Baby bloopers, this is called.
Hey guys, it's Kyle, and this is my incredible, powerful, beautiful, brilliant, funny fiance, Christy.
Aw, oh my gosh, what sweet things to say. Did you also say them to Allison and all the other girls?
Love so much. And this is our daughter, Vivian, as you might know from previous clips. I had a video I was going to make on our experience today and a lesson that I had, but Vivi was so funny in it that we decided to just give you a collection of Vivian baby bloopers, followed by the last blooper, which is Christy stepping on the dog.
So, okay, there you go. So you see, the loving relationship they've got going on. This was 2018. So just a year before what was going on, supposedly, with Allison. Year before, the most loving relationship of all time. You've never seen two people more in love. And Christy had her own thing to say about this. Actually, let me do this. Let me bring up, I've got a message here. I asked Allison about this. I said, so was Kyle in an open relationship? Like, how did it work? Was he allowed to be doing this with you? With his, were they polyamorous or something? And she actually responded to it. I'm going to play in her own words here her response to that question. Hang on a second. Let me get Facebook up here. Okay, this is Allison in her own words here. Just trying to bring it up on Facebook. Facebook audio here. It's such a nightmare to deal with. Okay, here we go.
Hey, that's a really great question. I don't know that I don't even think Kyle could honestly answer that because that's such a fucked up situation. But they were never married. They got engaged and then they broke that off. They went through a period of time where they did have like an open relationship.
Okay.
And then, got back together.
So Kyle was, for a period of time, Kyle was in sort of a cuck situation. Although, honestly, I say that. I want to make fun of him. I say that. But he's the one going out on the road and meeting all the ladies. She's back at home with the kid. So an open it's one of those rare situations where the woman is at the disadvantage in the open relationship there.
And then they basically lived together, but weren't, like, he says they weren't together. Now, I don't know if you asked her if it would be a different answer.
Right.
I know that right at the end when I was, making it very clear to him that I totally saw his patterns. I saw what he was doing. I knew that he didn't give a shit about me, or that he was only concerned about his reputation and his business, and kind of I basically said everything to him that I said in the post. At that point in time, one of his things was, no, like, Christy and I are done. Like, he had signed a lease for her to move out. And so the last I knew, and this was like, the beginning of February, she was moving out. And they were done for real done. But I mean, I don't know for sure how much she knew. I know that she came out with some sort of statement after I posted.
Uh-oh.
And people told me, don't even read it. It's so cruel. Like, don't even do that to yourself. He told me that Christy knew about me, but not the details. Yeah, it's kind of a fucked up situation. It's a really fucked up situation. And, I'm not the only woman, and I've talked to some of the other women too. So it's hard to say for sure. I don't know if that's helpful.
That is helpful. So Kyle, according to Kyle, oh no, she kind of knows. Like, I'm not giving her details. She knows, but it's fine. We're done. She said, I think she signed up for his thing in February of last year, and that he and the fiance were done in February of last year. Well, Christy is the fiance. And again, Christy is also one of these people. She does the same kind of stuff, but about vegan food, that sort of thing. So Christy's the fiance. And I have here the message that Christy put out about all of this that she was just referring to. Let's take a look at that together, shall we? This is Christy Harden, Kyle Cease's fiance. I don't know. Because I choose to be a fairly private person, I don't know you or most of the people on here, and you don't know me. I happen to be alerted to this comment, however, and now, after much heart searching, will break my silence for a moment, because I don't care to share my personal life on a social media platform anymore. I suppose I can expect that people may create and spread incorrect and misrepresentative assumptions about me and about my life with Kyle. My life and my life with Kyle are private and sacred to me, no matter what. By the way, you can't say that and then simultaneously be posting videos of you and your baby and Kyle to the internet. Stop putting your kids on the internet, people. You got to stop. I'm saying no social media, no photographs. You want to share a photo with your friends and family? Send it privately. Email it to them. Your kids don't need to be on the internet. You can't then, because then this stuff happens. And you can't say this. Oh, it's my private life. You're with a guy who is a public figure, who's been in movies, who's selling out these theaters to talk to people, who's dabbling behind your back, and then he's made you and his baby characters on his YouTube channel. So you don't get to have that anymore. Are private and sacred to me no matter what. However, I feel the need to clarify two things, and two things only. One, that I was never Kyle's client, student, or a groupie/fan. And two, that whatever else occurred or didn't, that I personally witnessed Allison avidly pursuing Kyle, calling, texting him repeatedly when we were actively progressing with putting our family back together. Well, yeah. Oh, crazy. She's calling and texting the guy saying that he's leaving you for her. Oh, you guys are putting your life back together? Well, tell that to the text messages where Kyle's going to financially support her and move to Florida to be with her. So they were together. Kyle's cheating. This is 100% confirmed cheating then at this point. Okay, she's saying it right here. This was very disturbing to me. I don't defend or indict anyone's actions here. Kind of sounds like it. Sorry, bitch. Kind of sounds like it. But if the actual truth is really what's important, let's include this detail. That's all I care to say about any of this. I wish for healing on everyone's part, especially Kyle's. Oh, that's who needs the healing. God, man, Kyle must have had it so rough. Double dipping, maybe triple. I would never ask anyone not to speak their truth, whatever that is, but I do ask of everyone to please have respect for Vivian, the baby that they put on YouTube, and think before you type about what you may have no actual knowledge of, as these posts, unfortunately, may live forever. Well, guess what, Christy? This post does live forever, and I feel like I do know what I'm talking about here. I've been talking about your boy toy Kyle there for a long time. Not a good guy. You know, I guess you thought, wow, we're raking in the money. You know, it's one of those things where it's like, it's one of those relationships where it's too big to fail. He's raking in the dough. She's at home with the baby. So she knows he's going out on these dalliances. It's like Tony Soprano and Carmela. She knows he's at the strip club fucking them whores. But she's got to let it happen because otherwise she doesn't get to have her nice life. What kind of life is she going to live if she doesn't allow this to happen? She's she's going to become a single mom and find a guy pulling that kind of cash out of people getting scammed, scamming old ladies? She's into that. She's the same type of guy. And this sent shockwaves through the community. I can tell you that much. Let's go to the video that he doesn't want you to see. I'm going to start it from the beginning here. And we're going to watch it. We're not going to watch the whole thing. It's impossible to watch the whole thing. This video is deeply disturbing and creepy. You'll see why. Deeply. So here it is. The Absolutely Everything Pass Weekly. This is the thing people pay for.
Hello, everybody. So honored that you're here tonight. I want to talk deeply and openly from my heart tonight. And because of that, tonight, at least while I talk, the chat and the questions are going to be off. And the reason they're going to be off is because
I don't want to confront what I did.
At the chat, I'll be busy trying to answer the questions that you have and not being able to speak from my heart. And I want to speak from my heart.
I mean, where are you going to speak from your heart? Okay, let's just take it. He just creamed. I told you. These are creamers.
Because my heart has so much to say. It really does. And if you don't know, a week ago, some accusations came out against me. And these accusations were big, and these accusations were a lot, and these accusations were challenging.
Kyle Cease, friend of the Me Too movement.
For the person making the accusations, for the people around that person, for the public, and for me. And I know that there's kind of an assumption or an expectation of how I should respond.
He looks much old. They're saying in the chat room he looks much older than the last time we talked about him. Oh, this sort of thing will age you, buddy. This will age you quick.
Why haven't you responded to these allegations right away? And the truth is,
is the chat broken?
I didn't know what to say.
I didn't notice that. I'm sorry. I don't look at the chat behind me here. The chat's been broken this whole time, I guess. Sorry about that. There we go. All fixed. Sorry. How long has it been like that? The whole show?
And there's a lot of expectation of certain ways that I need to respond to these allegations. That why don't you just own it and say you're sorry? And why don't you just do this? And I'm like, because right now, at the point when those allegations came out, and quite a bit recently too, I've been feeling trauma in my body.
Oh, poor guy.
I felt trauma. And I know that there's a part of you that might go, Kyle, this isn't about you. Well, I'm going to start by telling you what I know.
Right.
I can only tell you what was in my body and talk about what I'm learning through this.
Ugh, I don't want to know about your cream, Kyle, okay?
I know that my body was in trauma when I read the accusations.
That must have been very scary Bo-Berry for you.
And I know that if I responded from a place of trauma, it wouldn't bring love to the table. It wouldn't bring healing to the table. There was a lot of pain
and
a definite other side to the story that I had that I hadn't.
People are getting into this cream thing. You want to know where that came from? That's actually, I was just talking about myself. You see, when I make love to my beautiful wife, Kelsey, at the end of it, she's not going to want me to tell you this, but at the end, I just sit completely still and I go, "I've creamed!" And then we're done. It's over at that point because it would have to be. Now, you might think that's just me being a goofy little boy. Tee-hee-hee-hee, I'm Kyle Cease. I'm kid comedy. But no, it's something Kelsey said to me first. Okay? Me too. I got me too.
Bring to the table.
By Kelsey. She creamed me.
And even though a lot of people have an opinion about this, there's still only 2 people who were there.
She finished one day, and she just stops completely. Her body just completely stiffens up. She goes completely stiff. She goes, "I creamed." And she wasn't kidding. It wasn't a joke. It's the most psychotic thing ever. So now I do that to her all the time. "I've creamed."
And we both have different
kid creamedy
sides to the story.
That's right. Oh, so this is a story with 2 sides, you say. So, yeah, there's 2 sides to every story, guys. So, I mean, come on. You have them a chance.
Even if I want to say my side of the story.
I just got you a water and you do this to me. Kelsey said in the chat room, "You creamed me first." I mean, Kelsey Cold Stone Creamery. Do you know they call it Cold Rock in Australia? They just have a rip-off brand of Cold Stone called Cold Rock.
I, first of all, just want to make sure that I'm in a place of love for this entire thing. Our events are called Evolving Out Loud.
Oh, good. Let's get in the plug during our apology. These people are the ones paying you. They know what your events are called. You idiot, you gopher.
And the reason they're called that is because there is no part of me that sees me as some reverend or some,
Bet he listens to the band Cream when they do it. That's right.
Therapist with all the answers. I see myself as someone.
I've been waiting so long to be where I'm going in the sunshine of your cream.
Who's doing these events too. I do these events live, and if you watch me on stage, you watch my inner child figure stuff out. I know that we live in a world that says if a person's on stage, if a man is doing this, he's abusing.
I was thinking Radiohead Creep, 'cause I have creamed.
Power. Let me tell you something. I never considered that. I never saw myself as someone in power. I see myself as opening my heart and showing you the biggest inner child that I can be. I'm showing you all of my intimacy, all of my open-heartedness, all of my freedom, every part of me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Every part of you for sure. Mostly your penis, though, it turns out.
To me, women have the power.
You go, girl. Okay. Well, you still took advantage of them.
They do. In my life, they have power. They're amazing and beautiful and wonderful, and I want to connect with them. And I
want to dock in their port.
Hope that they don't not like me, and I hope they don't shame me, and I hope that.
Listen to this motherfucker. I mean, this is just pathetic to do this. It's pathetic to do this. To give these excuses and then to just talk about me in this. How is it that these guys haven't figured out the playbook yet? Okay? There's a playbook for this at this point. You should know what works and what doesn't. Every time a guy has come out apologizing or making a statement about allegations, we've seen what gets made fun of, what gets shamed. But they can never figure it out. And you know why they can't? Because it's heavy on the heart when you are a liar, when your whole existence is bullshit, like Kyle Cease's. Your whole fucking existence is complete bullshit. That weighs so heavily on you, you can't think any harder than this. This is the best you can do. He can't think outside of himself.
I don't hurt anyone. I don't see myself as someone who has power. And I'm learning today that that's how some people can see me. What I know is that I had
it kind of sounds like he's saying Allison raped
consensual
him.
Relationship with a woman.
Oh, consensual. Okay.
That woman instigated certain things.
What?
And then
What did she instigate? Was it the Facebook friend request? Apparently that was you. Was it the drinking again after 6 months of sobriety? I doubt it. I don't know, Kyle. I just call me crazy. I feel like the guy who was on stage is a master manipulator and is drinking during your own events. I feel like it might have been you initiating these things.
wanted a relationship with me for 2 months.
2 months.
We had 2 months of joyous phone calls, FaceTimes, laughter, and everything else. And then when it ended, as far as I knew, it ended on good terms. And then there was a total
You had a fiance!
different feeling about us. And this came out. And then when this came out, another woman said she also had a relationship with me.
Ooh, uh-oh, whoops!
This woman, as far as I knew, was a friend of mine, and we were actually going to get lunch on Thursday.
Oh, yeah, a little afternoon delight, I'm sure.
Then
What are you getting? So you're going to the Cold Stone Creamery?
3 different people who had actually hit on me, and I rejected, came out and said, me too.
Wow. So this is Me Too, powerful movement. Me Too, great thing. I love this Me Too movement. That's 2 years ago. Now it's, I rejected these bitches, and now they're saying Me Too? Nuh-uh, women got the power. I'm the victim.
I have to tell you, it's horrifying to me how hard it is
An
to
elegant
respond
tone of voice. Yeah, he's a bit fanciful.
in this environment. I am here to grow.
Hashtag he too. I like that one step too far. Hashtag he too.
I am here to grow in front of you.
He's fidgeting in
I'm
his
here
chair.
to create the safest space by transcending my trauma with you.
Fuck off, you bitch.
I have nothing but love in me for the people involved, for everyone involved,
The ones you just said you rejected too?
and for you. Right now, I'm sure this brings
So he's now just sitting there, closing his eyes, shaking back and forth in his chair. It's very disturbing, but it's going to get weirder.
up so much for all of us. And if it does, I know for a fact that's because we all have stuff in us that hurts.
Okay. So this is something that happens throughout this video. He just goes completely silent, closes his eyes, and sits there. Now imagine I'm doing this podcast, and for 5 minutes at a time, I just stare at you. Complete silence. Not a word is spoken. And then I decide, you know what? I'm going to go to sleep.
I've learned a lot from this. One of the things that happens when I meditate and I connect and get truly intimate is I truly lose the labels that say this is a client and I'm a speaker.
Oh,
I just see you as a
isn't
person.
that convenient? I just see you as a person. It's not really, I had no power because when I meditate, I don't consider myself, the guy with the business and you to be my client. So now you can see I did nothing wrong. Thank you, everybody. Good night.
And I'm a person. 2, don't keep secrets. Because even if you think no one sees it, God sees it. And that's a huge mistake that I've made. And I apologize with all my heart. I can tell you one thing for sure, is that I want to be better. I learned and I'm looking and I'm just starting the process of learning. There's so much I don't know about this. And it's caused me to really look at
about what? Me tooing? There's so much you don't know about taking advantage of women. I think you got it down, buddy. I think you got it down pat. The only part you're not very good at is the not getting caught.
And what I've become in certain ways. And there are certain aspects of it that are terrible.
Oh, we got Wendy White in the chat says, for the record, I have been a longtime client of Kyle. I have learned a lot. I love his team and the people we have met. He has crossed the line, and I'm aligned with the victim. So this is somebody who pays him, likes his stuff, and still says he did wrong. Wendy, what do you think about this message? Like, do you find this to be an acceptable response to what he did, to being called out? Because to me, this is crazy.
That I don't want to be anymore.
And by the way, aren't we having fun? Isn't it nice that the guy we made fun of 3 years ago is terrible? Yay! I mean, I love Dear God. Thank you so much, Dear God. Thank you to the Chaos Magic out there. Thank you to everybody for your sacrifices. You really made this happen for me this year, guys. Season Infinity really rules. Thank you.
And I know once I see something, I'm capable of changing it.
Si ves algo de algo.
But I have to see it first. I have to see it first and then be in the pain that I have that new revelation. And that's going to take time. There's a lot of things that I saw.
Oh, we've got another Kyle person in the chat here. Chantel Rogers says, we have all been completely ignored when asking for refunds and calling him out. We're going to get into that, Chantel.
I saw that by being in a gray area in different areas of my life, that it can be really easy to hurt people.
Yeah, you're in a gray area. It's called your beard.
And I'm truly sorry.
You're getting into a thin area, too. It's called your hairline. Okay, he's just quiet. He's just silent. I didn't stop the video.
I felt so many different things in the last week. I felt defensive, protective, really apologetic, guilty, sad, scared. And it seems to me that I feel different things at different times. Like I can only tell you what I'm feeling right now. I'm sure tomorrow there will be another part of me that's so apologetic and sorry. And then there's...
Now, Scott says Jesse would never fuck his clients. I don't have clients. Okay, if you're trying to make, what, you think I make Kelsey pay for the pizza fund?
Another part of me that says, no, this is bullshit. This is what happened.
If I get to cream, you get free pizza fund. Okay, and that goes for all of you. All right, hi, I'm your boyfriend, Jesse.
Was this way.
I'm kidding.
All I want to do is grow, and all I want to do is love.
This is all just making me so incredibly sick. I trusted him to help me heal my sex addiction. I paid over $30,000 feeling so stupid and taken advantage of, says Chantel in the chat room. So that's particularly terrible, Chantel. So you had you trusted this guy who is a confirmed sex creep. A sex cream. You paid $30,000. We got to get you women to stop doing I mean, that's just... Chantel, I feel bad for you. I do feel bad for you, okay? Guys, love and light to Chantel, all right? Send her your love and your light, okay? Because that's just crazy. Now, obviously, you're never going to get that money back. And unless he Me Too'd you, then, technically, you got what you paid for, I think. But he is a sex creep, and that does suck. Chantel, here's what I need you to do. I need all the ladies out there that are falling for this shit to do this. Stop it. Okay? Women, International Women's Day, it's time to just stop it. All right? What are you thinking? Stop. What did you look at him? What did you this is what's crazy to me. I go, when I look at a man, particularly one like this, I go, what does he know? He's just some guy. I'm just some guy. He's just some guy. Where did he get this knowledge, this information? What makes him loftier and more thoughtful and smarter than you or me? So sure, there are people who are smarter, but almost nobody's really got it all that well put together for them to be telling you what to do, you know? And how much of the advice are you honestly going to even take? You're only going to take it until you're not comfortable with it anymore. Stop it, okay? Look at him. He looks like a diseased cartoon character. What were you thinking? $30,000. Think of all the Cold Stone creameries you could have gotten with $30,000. Man, all the mix-ins. You could have gotten several Lovitz with a waffle cone. You could have had a gotta have it. Dipped in chocolate and 12 mix-ins with $30,000.
And all I want to do is make better anything that felt bad. So to the woman who made the accusation, I apologize with all my heart.
Oh, that's so nice. So you admit it.
Truly.
That's called admitting it. Truly? Okay, great. That's
to
called
anyone else who
admitting.
felt unsafe in any way.
He admitted it.
I
He
apologize.
did the crime. What are your
with all my heart.
crimes? Ooh, did
Truly.
you see him twitch just then? That was psychotic. His whole face, he said, I apologize. Truly. He's like fighting himself. You know, it's like liar, liar when he tries to tell a lie. The pen is blue.
To people in my life that were hurt by this, I apologize with all my heart.
I mean, look at it. Okay, how about this? So you sat there and you paid. I'm not making fun of you here, but you sat there and you paid him to watch this. Like, I bet you were part of this thing here where he does this weekly thing, right? Look at this room he's in. Does this look like a well-appointed room? Does this look like the room of a guy who's got it all together? I mean, what is this shit? This is one of the most sparse, tiny, terrifying, ugly rooms I've ever seen. He's making money hand over fist. He doesn't even have good lighting or camera for you. And you're thinking, yeah, no, this is probably worth my money. I'm just saying, like, you got to think more critically about this stuff, ladies. Some people have a huge skill of accessing your heart despite all the rest, and so very manipulative, says Blue Poppy, who I assume is also one of these ladies joining us tonight here. I mean, folks, ain't nobody, all right, how about this? Let's try something out real quick. All right? I'm going to give you a freebie here. I'm somewhat of a life coach, too. You know, the people, you ladies here who are new, you don't know this, but we got this thing called the Pizza Fund. I got a thing where every week I talk to the folks. We just did this on Friday. I talk to the folks. We hang out on a live stream, just like what he does here. And I give out advice all the time, okay? So I'm going to give you some free advice, all right? This is something Kyle would never give it away for free like this, all right? I'm talking directly to you. This is completely free, all right? And I know what I'm talking about here. Look how well-appointed my studio is, all right? Here's the advice. Ain't none of these people in any of these communities know what the fuck they're talking about. Not one of them. You know how I know? Because a lot of you guys also do it. And Kyle himself says he's still in it and he's working and he's got coaches. Every coach has a coach. It's coaches all the way down. Okay? Now, if you can point me to a prime coach, the one coach who ain't coached by another coach, then maybe we got something here. But until you find that guy, they don't know what they're talking about. It's just a scheme. It's a scam. Cease scams. That was free.
I don't know what the
First
trauma
one's
is
free.
that's in my body.
First one's free. Join the Pizza Fund, and then I'll tell you how to really live your life. I got the real answers. A lot of people do call me the greatest guy. I'm also the internet's boyfriend. So whoever it was that had the sex addiction thing, I'm kidding. I'm married, got a child.
I don't know what it's from. I really don't. But I know that this is so big in my life that I have to find a place to go past it. Weirdly, on the night that this was posted, right before that, I said
Open
out
your
loud
eyes, you dumb bitch!
to the universe, connect me with my soul
You know what happens to me all goddamn day long? I'm just screaming inside my own head. And now I'm looking at him and his closed eyeballs during this stupid fucking thing. This video he does not want you to see because he's admitting it. He's admitting it. And all of a sudden the screams must come out. I just want every second he keeps his fucking eyes closed, I want to fucking scream. I want to annihilate him.
No matter what the cost.
Jokingly. Talk!
Boy, did it respawn.
Ooh, he's twitching. Look at his face. I've never seen him twitch like that before. That's a profoundly fucked up individual right there. He can't hold it in. He's Ethan Kleining it. Hee-haw!
I've had life just good enough that my circumstances were just good enough that there was a level of growth that I was able to do within my control. But I know that right now I'm in a low.
This video is it's an hour long, and he does this thing where he's just pausing, not talking for a lot of it, just to pad it out to an hour. I guess he owes these guys an hour every time, so he just pads this out by just not talking. You know, I might occasionally pad out an episode of this show by going off on a tangent, but at least I'm filling your time with some humor, some comedy, some content. He's sitting there going to sleep. He's looking like Peepaw in his recliner. He's got the blanket over his knees because the knees get cold. And he's peepawing it. I want to skip ahead here and see if there's a moment where I know there is. There are moments in here where he just straight up is not talking. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Watch this. This is so fucking nuts. Watch this. I'm pretty sure this is it. Rocking chair Peepaw, they're saying. Okay, here he is. Watch this. Watch this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Video's playing. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Look at this! Look how much time is passing! He's just sitting there going to him. He's creaming. He's having a wet cream right now. A dream cream. The video is still playing, okay? For the audio people out there. I have not paused. It looks like it's paused, too. He's not even moving anymore. This is still going. This is psychotic. Fucking psycho, they say in the chat room. What the fuck? A cease release. It calms him down. Oh, God, yeah. He's got to stop the twitching, the facial tics. He's so fucking rigid right now. If he's not careful, if that thing is pointing up at him right now, he could blast himself in the face.
I'm really sorry.
Okay, cool, thanks. And he twitched when he said that. Did you see that? I got to roll that back. I have to roll that one back. Let's roll back that beautiful bean footage. He said, I'm really sorry. He finally broke his silence, and then his face goes nuts. Watch this. Silence, 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 silence. Sorry if I went too far back. It's a long video, hard to judge. So watch when he says it. He's going to twitch. I'm really sorry.
I'm really sorry.
Oh, there it is. Look at that mouth go. And now he's just back to creaming. He's back to dream creaming.
Please receive that.
And look at all the twitching. It's so fucking transparent, man. It's so transparent.
Please receive that, not only from me, but to allow yourself to release yourself from anyone who's ever hurt you.
Wow. Now let's go to the part in the video. We're just going to skip a ton of this. Let's go toward the end where we get some real kid comedy vibes going on, okay? Check this out.
One person feels like reaching out and saying, I'm sorry to someone else from this call, hopefully being that example, then we can free ourselves.
There's this baby in
What can we do with this?
Look at how much he's
What can I do
twitching.
with this?
He's twitching so much. Look at him. It looks like he was doing coke all night, and he's like, oh shit, I can't feel my fucking gums. He's like, we say he looks like a little weasel or a gopher or something. Now he's doing the little gopher, the little hamster nose. And he's back to quiet. I'm pretty sure this is the part. I think this is the part where he becomes kid comedy again. Is he wearing dentures, they ask in the chat room. Painful. By the way, video's still playing.
I'm here to make it better.
Ooh, Twitch. He's jelking. He's edging, says Blue Poppy. Great comment.
I'm here to grow. I'm here to make me better.
I hope this is the part. I really want you to see this one part.
And I'm here to bring a whole new element of myself to
No. You know what? I skipped it. Let me run it back a little further, because he says this thing, and it's so fucking insane to me. I can't believe it. I'm gonna roll it all the way back to here. Oh God! Oh man, he's just zoning out again. He's zoning. I'm gonna rename him Jerry Mander, because he's zoning. It's a pretty good joke. Maybe they should call me Kid Comedy. Guys, actually, my new nickname, call me Bullets. Okay? That's my name now. If you don't call me Bullets, I will not respond. Is this paused? No, this is playing. He is completely still. This is Weekend at fucking Bernie's at this point. He's toast. Waka waka. All right, Bullets. He creaming. Could he look any whiter? He could. Yeah, he's got a little Los Angeles sun on him right here. He's trying to have his way with our auras via his unwanted vibes. He's in a loop. Bullets is a pretty fucking cool nickname. Thank you. And I will only speak to you if you address me as Bullets.
I'm sorry.
Twitch. Tweekend at Bernie's. Man, come on. I should have put down the time code. There's this part where he starts talking about how he's just a little kid. It's crazy. I think it's around here. It was right near the end.
Please know there's just a little kid in here.
There we go.
That just wants to be loved.
Kid comedy.
And that little kid thinks his love is approval. And right now I'm learning to love him, so he doesn't need approval.
How fucking gross is that? Grow up. There ain't no
kid. A little kid that wants to do well. A little kid that wants mom to say good job. A little kid that's just doing what he can to be the best version of me in the world.
So, hey, Allison, the guy who Me Too'd you, yeah, that was just a little kid. You're actually the predator in this situation. He's a little kid. He's just a little boy. He just wants to make his mommy proud. His dead mommy. He's a little boy. Why did you do that to him, Allison? He's the victim. He's a little kid. It's kid comedy. He belongs in prison. This is fucking embarrassing. And again, I will say this. I've said it before. I'll say it again. The perfect crime, a child who rapes adults. How do you prosecute that?
I'm just holding space for that little kid. I'm holding space for anyone involved, little kid.
Oh, gross.
I'm holding space for you.
That's
I'm holding space
pedophilic.
for you watching this.
Holding space. Now, this is a term they're all using. And again, no offense, Allison. No offense to the people in the chat room here. I gotta break you guys of this cycle because you're wasting your time, your money, your emotion on all this stuff. This holding space thing. You'll see all these guys in these communities say, I hold space for this. I hold space. Stop it. Stop holding space. It's all nonsense, okay? It's all nonsense. You know what? Be nice. Try to live a good life. Try to be happy every once in a while. If meditation does that for you, great. Get out of these communities. You know, the community lost it over this Kyle Cease thing. They lost it so much. Take a look at this video. This woman is right now at the retreat with Kyle. This was posted before she went there, but she's actually posted videos while at the retreat. Let's take a look at this. It's called Heroes, Villains, and Victims. And this woman was hurt by the Kyle Cease thing. She made this.
Hi, Kim Halsey.
This is Kim Halsey. Nice lady. Oh, okay. Well, Facebook decided to ejaculate me out of that video. Weird. Let's try that one more time, I guess. I guess Facebook was like, nah, bitch, you're not watching this one.
Hi, Kim Halsey. Leading with Heart. Day 4 of what's turning out to be a transformational event in my life. You have followed me and
Kim helped me
watched
out during this show too.
Do work with Kyle Cease for the last 2 years.
Watch this.
You have witnessed leaps, and I have witnessed dramatic changes in my life that are all good, and in the person I've become, which is all good, and in authenticity and transparency and willingness to be seen, which is what brings me here to you today. Not ever in my wildest dreams did I imagine I would be positioning myself publicly against the behavior of a beloved mentor. For those of you who have watched and loved and supported and held space for me as I hold space for others, I appreciate you so much.
Wow. So, I mean, she's literally breaking down into tears. She's crying here. This sent such a shockwave through this community that this woman is devastated over the news of what Kyle did. She's devastated to the point where, I was going to play the whole video, but you know what? You can go find that on your own, I guess. Leading with Heart is the name of the Facebook page that video is posted on. Kim Halsey. She helped me out with some of this. She is at the retreat right now. And what happened was, all these people paid all this fucking money, thousands and thousands of dollars to go to this retreat. And then we find out this thing about the Me Too thing with Kyle, and he ain't refunding anybody. So they got two options. They can just be out thousands of dollars and not go, or they go anyway to enjoy their time out in this retreat, but they got to be with the Me Too man. So Kim did a nice thing, and that guy Jay I was mentioning earlier did a nice thing as well. They're there right now counseling the people who are there and feel betrayed and feel these terrible emotions over all of this stuff. A really amazing thing to do. And Kim told me that today even, it had broken down to the point where Kyle's team had all quit on him except for 2 people. And I imagine those must be like the closest people in his life or something. He just coerced into working on his, it might even be the fiance, maybe his brother or something. Like, who knows who it is? I don't know. But she said all but 2 people from his team have completely quit. Everyone there is not on his side. They forced him to address this at the retreat. That's not what this retreat's about. The retreat's about him telling you what to do and making space and meditating and all that kind of stuff. And it's completely fallen down all around him. He's going to be bleeding money. Bleeding money. So finally the scams have come back to bite him in the ass on all of this stuff. And by the way, not the only way he'd been scamming and it's come back to haunt him on this. He bled a little money too. Something got settled this past January. Kyle was part of a lawsuit. Take a look at this. It says here, Yesh Music LLC is the plaintiff versus the defendant Kyle Cease. And apparently Kyle was going against DMCA. He was stealing music, okay? He was stealing music for his advertisement. So it wasn't just, I made a YouTube video and this is in the background or whatever. You know all of those motivational videos he does where it's got that motivational music behind it? Well, he stole that shit. He used it for commercial gain, and then he got sued for it. Pretty cool. And the same, you know what I'm going to do, actually? This is pretty cool. So Kyle used these things without permission and non-transformatively. What I'm going to do right now, I'm going to give you a taste of some of the songs he stole from this Yesh Music company. I found their website here, and I've got the actual songs he stole. And let you listen. This is motivational speaker music, basically. And, of course, I'm commenting on this. So, Yesh Music, this is, unfortunately for you, fair use. I am allowed to do this legally. Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm on your side here. I am glad you went up against Kyle. And apparently, I don't know if they settled out of court. A settlement was made. Kyle had to pay some money for this. They had this song called Age of Wonder. Let's take a listen to this. What is it about you that makes you, you? You know, I was talking to a woman the other day, and she said, where am I in my journey of my transformation? Well, I said to her, I'm just some guy. I don't know. That's up to you to decide. You know, there's pictures of waterfalls happening right now. That's Age of Wonder. He stole that one. He stole Anything You Synthesize. What does evolving mean to me? It means finding a way into a woman's pants despite her saying no. It means never giving up, even if a woman doesn't drink anymore. It means just because she's underage, I'm allowed to do whatever the fuck I want. Okay, anyway, you get it. These are the songs. Now check this out. This is the coolest part of this, all right? Now remember, we started C Scams. We're the first people to reveal him as the con man that he is ever since he started this motivational speaking thing. Other comedians called him out for the comedy boot camp stuff, but we are the ones who made it known that everything he does is a scam, right? Now let's read this. Nature of the action. Defendant is a former comedian. I love reading that. A former comedian. So you're not a comedian anymore. Legally speaking, you are no longer a comedian, Kyle. So you're not a transformational comedian. You are a former comedian, according to this law paper here, this paper of the court. Defendant is a former comedian and originator of the Comedy Boot Camp, which was a $3,000 per person comedy workshop. So I wonder where he got the idea to do this motivational speaking shit. To entice individuals to attend, defendant created advertisements stating the attendees could be million-dollar headliners. I played this video on one of the last episodes we did about Kyle and asked them, what would it feel like to be a millionaire? Defendant moved from the Comedy Boot Camp scheme, so legally speaking, it's a scheme. You're a schemer. To a motivational speaking scheme, which includes workshops, meditation retreats, and 2 books authored by the defendant. The defendant created at least 3 video advertisements to support the sale of his books, monthly subscription service, and Living Out Loud live workshop. So that's what it's all about. He stole these songs for the advertisements for the boot camp and for his motivational speaking schemes. And I'm allowed to call them schemes because that is a legal decision that has happened here, all right? Legally speaking, it is a scheme. But let's go to what else is now legally speaking. This is pretty interesting. Let me find the page here. We've got due process, the parties, the facts. So we do have facts listed here. Everything we're talking about here is a fact, okay? It's very important to remember. I think this might be the page. Let's see. Okay, this is great. Check this out. So after discovery, plaintiff immediately notified the defendant that it was using its copyrighted recordings by email, and the defendant responded. So Kyle responded to the complaint about using their music by saying this: We don't have an official license to send. However, when we released the video, Kyle had spoken with their manager who said they loved what Kyle was doing and the message he was sharing. They were okay with us using their music in our videos. So he had someone from his team respond saying that he got special permission to use this music for free because they liked what Kyle was doing. All right. Now listen to the way the lawyer responds to that. Defendant's response demonstrates how calculated his actions were. Plaintiff has no manager, and the members would never have allowed their recordings to be associated with a man like Kyle Cease. We would never let our music be associated with a guy this schemy, this slimy. And then they go on to say, this gets so good. They go on to say, it only takes a simple search of Kyle Cease and scam on Google to see the thousands of instances of individuals who discuss how they were scammed by the defendant. Cease scams. I'm not kidding. If you type in Cease scams to Google right now, check this out. I'm going to type it in Cease. No, sorry. Kyle Cease. Let's type in exactly what they said to type. Kyle Cease. And then the word scams. Okay? Let's take a look at what comes up. Take a look at this legal proceeding that Kyle got fucked over when it comes to money mentions Cease scams. Because if you look here, the first result for Kyle Cease scams, hashtag Cease scams, hashtag on Twitter. That is a hashtag we started. Then after that, it's the complaint that I was just reading, the legal complaint. The first result, Cease scams. We did it! Also, a pod awful video right here. Motivational speakers, the people versus Kyle Cease. That is a pod awful video. And there's other stuff too. Another pod awful video. There's other stuff here too. But the very first thing is, of course, Cease scams. How cool is that? Dear God provides. People are loving it in the chat room. Thank you. Hey, what can I say? I'm just Bullets, the greatest guy. Now, let me go to this, though. I would be remiss to not bring this up. We started talking about Kyle a long time ago, and that led us to another goon, one of our favorite goons to talk about for a while. A guy by the name of Brandon Marshall, a.k.a. the spiritual smartass.
He's building a persona up and looking for fame. He's picking up women like his life was the game. He's got a mouth more mealy than a pound of grain. Brandon Marshall is his name.
Now, this is a guy we turned trans. Brandy, we call him now. And if you recall, I also wrote a book about him. I'm a best-selling author. Much like Kyle Cease, he's a New York Times best-selling author. I am an Amazon best-selling author. This is true. I wrote this book. It's called The Con Man of Excellence by Pod Awful. It's the unauthorized biography of Brandon Marshall. I did have I was a bestseller, number 1 and number 9 bestseller on Amazon in several different categories. And, I looked this up. I like to look at this occasionally. I looked this up. We've only got one bad review on this. One bad review on it. And I looked at it, and it's by somebody named Tiara something. And some of you guys will remember this. Tiara was a listener of our show who quit. She quit listening to the show. And it says the sample is the entire book. And she gave it 1 star, which is true. You can just read it for free if you look at the sample. So she apparently, this is a verified purchase. Tiara, who quit the show, after quitting the show, bought the book and then got mad because it's a joke book. Yeah, Tiara, that was the point, idiot. Anyway, stupid. So we wrote this book about the con man of excellence himself, Brandon Marshall. Brandon Marshall, exact same guy as Kyle Cease. Brandon Marshall openly admits that he started doing what he does because of Kyle Cease. Now, the crazy thing is he looks like Kyle Cease. He does the same stuff as Kyle Cease. He started out as a stand-up comedian like Kyle Cease and then moved into motivational speaking and that sort of thing, being a guru, being a life coach, whatever it is they do. He's been through all these different personas like Kyle Cease, and he's been accused like Kyle Cease. And the funny thing is, all he does all day long is post to these communities. And I'm saying this stuff so that hopefully some of the ladies who are here about the Kyle C stuff, hopefully you're still here. I want you to be aware of this guy too, Brandon Marshall. I've been talking about this guy for a long time now, almost as long as I've been talking about Kyle Cease. And I had an intuition about Kyle Cease. I had one about Brandon Marshall, and everything I've thought about him has come true so far. Brandon posts all day about these communities and this kind of stuff. And somehow, just a couple days after Allison's big Me Too post, Brandon posted this like a dummy. Take a look at this. How crazy is it? Just the timing on this is so hilarious. He quoted Kyle Cease and wrote, "The true masculine energy protects the truth. Misguided masculine energy protects itself from the truth." Quote, Kyle Cease. How perfectly timed is that quote to make him look like a complete idiot? So, of course, he types that up, and people in his comment section are like, okay, hey, Brandon, you do know what's going on with Kyle Cease right now, right? And he's like, sorry, I don't know. So then he has to write this big old apology. Hang on, let me mute that. I'm sorry about you hearing these chat sounds here. I have to unmute Facebook sometimes for the show. He had to write this big old apology because he made this ridiculous mistake, this terrible timing. And look how long, this is almost as long as Allison's post about getting Me Too'd. He says, when I first went into Facebook this morning, I was tagged in a post that was calling out a mentor I've worked with and saw as a leading example for men amongst coaches, teachers, and healers. Not only men, but one of the top people I felt came with the cleanest energy in his containers. I don't know what the fuck that means. I realize as I'm reading the post, I just quoted him less than 24 hours ago with a quote that always stuck with me around masculinity. So I immediately opted myself into the conversation without knowing. So Brandon, much like Kyle's brother, jumped in and defended Kyle Cease during this time. But of course he did. Why wouldn't he when Brandon's basically been Me Too'd himself before? By the way, Brandon's girlfriend, who also does this shit, because all of these people, if they're talking about this stuff, it's not because they're just working on themselves. They also sell a product. Brandon's girlfriend, we call her Amy Toomer, Rebecca. Let's take a look at Rebecca real quick. If you've forgotten, we like to call this lady Amy Toomer. She's been doing a lot of posts lately where she doesn't wear makeup. Here she is, Rebecca, Amy Toomer. And I got to say, in these pictures, she's looking a little bit less like Amy Schumer and a little bit more like Pam from The Office. We're going to call her Spam Beasley, okay? Spam Beasley here. She had to make her own post, and obviously she's doing this for the clout. She's just trying to get shares on a post here. That's what's going on. She says, Kyle Cease's work has helped me so much. His teaching. So she's on Kyle's side, but then she says, I believe her fully. He fucked up, full stop. Having a sexual relationship with a paying coaching client is not okay ever. The dynamic is fundamentally unequal and the perfect breeding ground for abuse of power. But then she says, and I still love and am in deep appreciation of Kyle Cease and his work in the world. Pick a lane, lady, but she's got to be in love with Kyle Cease. And in fact, I think she's actually in love with Kyle Cease because her husband is basically Kyle Cease light, or her boyfriend. I guess they're not married. Are they married? I don't remember. Anyway, Brandon's Kyle Cease light. Brandon also had to make a video about this, though, because of course he did. And take a listen to this. This is almost as shameful as Kyle Cease's video.
Hey, I am